You ready to transform your life from the inside out? Join Tasha Young on Elevation Nation, your guide to total wellness and personal evolution. You are about to discover powerful strategies for healing across 7 essential dimensions: physical vitality, emotional balance, mental clarity, financial freedom, social connection, sexual wellness, and intellectual growth. This is more than self-help. It's self-elevation. Watch Elevation Nation with Tasha Young, exclusively on Black Westchester Magazine, the news from the Black point of view. Your journey to wholeness starts now.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. How are you?
Happy Women's History Month.
I know that's right. I know that's right. Technology is not on my resume. It is not. No, not at all.
It works when it works, right?
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. Oh. So good to see you.
You too, beautiful. I've been so excited about being with you here tonight. I'm watching you from a distance, cheering you on, praying for you.
Thank you.
I love everything that I see coming out of your universe that you've created.
Thank you. Thank you. And it's still evolving.
Amen. Amen. Big shout out to Renee and my beautiful cousin Debbie.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. Welcome.
Yes, absolutely. You know, Deb is my cousin too, my sister cousin.
Isn't she so beautiful?
She is amazing.
It really is. So yes, welcome everybody to Elevation Nation. My name is Tasha Young. I am the host. We might be joined by my brothers. I know AJ's on his way. He's traveling. And Damon has set us up. We are streaming on all the Black Westchester platforms. And I'm just happy to be here. I'm very grateful to host Elevation Nation. What we are doing here is elevating the conversations. We're looking at different areas of healing and health. So certainly we talk about our physical health, and we are on a 28-day wellness challenge. I am down 20 pounds.
Awesome.
Yes.
I need to join.
Yes. I am down 20 pounds. AJ's down 50 pounds. And Damon has been accepting a vegan, vegetarian lifestyle for years now. He's written books about it. He has supplements. Hopefully, we can get a hold of some and give a review. But yes,
Absolutely.
we're looking at our physical health.
And that makes all the difference in the world. Just absolutely. I think people don't understand how the physicality of who you are really does inform your spiritual growth. It informs your emotional health. It informs mentally. It really does. When you're sluggish and tired, there are just things you cannot do. Well, you're
That's
not
right.
even able to do. And I think sometimes we disconnect, try to disconnect all those things and not understand that all of those things together creates who we are. And we forget,
Absolutely.
yeah, especially that physical part, because I'm in that process too. I'm working on my physical health because
Yes.
I know that I've been charged to do a lot of things during this season, and
Yep.
that I 100% have to be well. And I don't
Yes.
mean just spiritually well, but I have to be physically well. And I think we forget about that, how we eat, how much rest do we get, if
Yes.
you're able to get rest, right?
That's
All of
right.
those things are really essential because people don't understand. When you go to the doctors, he always asks you, well, how much sleep do you get per night? He's not asking that just to be asking a question because he just want to chat with you. He's
That's right.
asking you that because it does inform your next day journey. It really does. If you're
Absolutely.
tired and sluggish, you're not going to get a lot accomplished, or you're going to be pushing something. It feels like you're pushing over on overload trying to get something done, when if you've gotten enough rest, if you feel physically okay,
Yep.
it's a breeze. It's like a breeze. So yeah, I'm with you on that. So you can just send me all that information.
We definitely will. And I'm so glad to have a woman of God on the show.
Bless you.
We are looking at physical health, and I did name 7 areas of health. And you know what I did not include?
Spirit,
Guess.
spirit.
I did not include spiritual health.
Yeah, you
So
have you have to
we must. We are physical and we are spirit. We are spirit
first.
eternally.
Yes, 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 yes,
For
yes.
those of us in the body of Christ, there is no death.
No, no.
And I'm gonna have to add that now.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you can't, and that's what I just said. You cannot disconnect those tenets of who we are as humanity and human beings. You cannot, God, He breathed the breath of life. That means His spirit went into Adam. His being went into Adam. And so we began there, right? And then He took the rib, which is the physical part, to create Eve. But guess what? When the rib was taken out, there was still a part of God's spirit within that piece of rib. Ooh, we can preach that one day.
So I'm just grateful. I thank God for you. I thank God for everybody that I know that is in the body of Christ. And I thank God for everybody who is acknowledging their spiritual journey. I want to shout out some more people that have come in: Patricia,
Absolutely.
Alexis, Jacqueline. Welcome.
Welcome.
Those who acknowledge that they are of spirit and that they do need God in their life. I want to say Ramadan Mubarak for all of those who are fasting. And I
Right.
want to just, invite everybody who is a believer into our atmosphere and into this practice of really elevating these conversations. So, physical health, spiritual health. We also here talk about mental health,
Right. Right.
emotional regulation. What does it mean to be emotionally regulated?
Mm. And Tasha, I teach special education. So that's one of the principles of dealing with social emotional learning, right? Understanding coping skills, being able to self-regulate. And I've learned so much over the last 18 years, and more importantly, more so over the last 5 years because of COVID, because social
Yeah.
emotional learning did not come into play. I mean, we were doing the work, but we didn't understand what work we were doing, if that makes any sense,
Yes.
as
Yes.
educators. So we were doing the work, but we didn't understand what that work was and what it entails. And I've seen, even over the last couple of years, how I've had to take on some of those same practices, right? Not just the deep breathing, because we all need to learn
Oh,
that concept
yes.
of deep breathing, mindfulness, making sure that whatever is upsetting you, that you take your focus off of that and focus on something that can provide that sense of that centering and that peace for you. And so even today, I had to tell one of my students that, I use the terminology, right? I use the
Yes.
vocabulary for them. Okay, we gotta build in our coping skills. What do we
Yes.
need to do to calm you down? And when I
Yes.
start with that conversation, and these are first and second graders who already know I need to self-regulate and what
Yes.
that means for me, not
Love
just,
that.
right? Not just squeezing your fist to self-regulate and then releasing. I use the terminology and also model the behavior that I'm looking for to help them in getting them back into a place of calm, a place of peace. And I think we as adults
Right.
can be very flippant and ready
Yes.
to just mouth off instead of taking that step back to self-regulate, because it's not really about the person that you're having the confrontation or having the contention with. It's really about you. And we go back to physical health and how that impacts your physical health when you're allowing your blood pressure to rise, when you're
Yes.
allowing you know all those things, those mechanisms, those juices, right, to begin to flow that are not healthy,
Right.
right? And not that we're not supposed to be just saying those emotions don't exist or those
Oh,
feelings don't exist. We're
no.
not going to discount that, but
Right.
we got to learn how to self-regulate it. I refuse to, and especially this season and this political crisis that we're in,
Yeah.
to allow it to get me to a place that my blood pressure is sky high, or I'm feeling a sense of anxiety because
Yes.
of what's happening, because it's easy to do that. It really is.
Yes.
Frank and I caught ourselves like wanting to watch news every single day. We were walking in,
Right.
we were turning on CNN or MSNBC. I'm not MSNBC anymore because of what they just did. But anywho,
Yes.
but just some of the things that we would do, catching the local news, just trying to find sound bites so that, and then we found ourselves having to say, okay, no, because it was consuming a lot of headspace, a
Yep.
lot of emotional space, physical space. I sat on the couch for 45 minutes when I'm supposed to be on my treadmill.
Right. Right.
Right?
Yes.
I'm wasting time on
Yeah.
something else that I should be doing because I've let something else consume me. So that
Yeah.
self-regulation, we'll go back to the word,
Right.
was not put in place, that I'm not even self-regulating the time and energy that I'm spending on something that truly is causing me anxiety and stress.
Oh, yeah. The algorithms make sure of it. Yes.
Oh, it's like, and I'm like, but I never, you talk about algorithms. I'm looking at my feeds and I'm like, but I never looked at their page. I never looked at this conversation. I never, heard about this. And then it makes you explore even the more of what they're
Yes.
feeding you.
Yes. They
And
call
then
it the
that,
rabbit hole.
what? And then your blood pressure is going up, anxiety is happening, you're feeling a sense of you want to isolate yourself. So all of those things are emotions that come into play that we have to learn how to self-regulate as adults, because then it becomes a frenzy. It becomes a whole frenzy. How you felt at COVID when they first tell you that you had to stay in, right? That you
Yes.
shut in. And that very day when they lifted it and they said, oh, you can go out, make sure you mask. What did you feel? It was like you felt a sense of, I don't know if I want to do this.
Right.
What you mean? I'm going to step across my threshold of my house, and you felt a sense of anxiousness. I don't want to go back there. Right.
I love this. First of all, I just have to pause you for a second because I have a 9-year-old granddaughter who you know,
Hmm.
and they're so ready to receive this information. They are so, like sometimes I talk to her about mindfulness, and sometimes, we listen to sleep music and she'll ask for it, and I
Absolutely.
will, yeah, and I will tell her, when you have to study, you can record yourself and listen to your studies and your subconscious mind is hearing you as you're going to sleep. You can also study like that when you're waking up, and then when you're awake,
Right.
and you're reading it and you're writing it down, you remember, because it's in your
Absolutely.
body, it's in your subconscious. And she goes, "Oh yeah," like, like that makes sense to her.
Good granddaughter, good grandbaby. I love it. I love
She's
it.
like, "Oh yeah." I said, that's it's called subliminal message, a
Right.
subliminal message. So I don't know if your students, how receptive they are of mindfulness, but my little one,
Oh,
she is,
love it.
they
Mine
love
love
it,
it.
right?
I love it. My kids, when they come in the morning, I have, because we're called the guppies. That's what I call my kids, first and second grade.
Adorable.
So when they come in the morning, I have an aquarium projected with jazz music on it. So when they come in the morning, they walk into a sense of calm and peace, because it's about setting the stage, setting the tenor of the classroom,
Yes.
setting the emotional high, low, what's going to happen. And they feel that vibe, right? They
Yes,
feel
they
that
feel
sense
it.
of calming. They watching the aquarium. They're watching the different fish that are in there, the different sea animals that are in there, and they are focused. They are laser focused. Now, sometimes I have to tell them, okay, we got to get to breakfast though, guys. We got to go. Well, you
We
see
have
that?
to leave.
We got to leave. We got to leave. But that sense of calm, that preparation, and that's why too, it is important. I love what you said to your grandbaby, because it's important that even when you go to bed, give yourself 30 minutes
Yeah.
between the time of going to bed, of resting at night. Put on something that is going to calm you.
That's right.
For Frank and I both, we usually have the word on so we can go to sleep. And that very scripture will wake us up in the morning, right? And
Amen.
yeah, it'll wake us up in the morning, or he's listening to a gospel song, or sometimes it's just the stillness that brings me a sense of calm and peace. But we need to learn how to do that so that when we are resting, like you said, the subconscious is not all over the place. The
That's
worst
right.
sleep in the world is to have that your mind is running 500
That's
and you're
right.
trying to calm yourself down. So I always tell people, give yourself about 30 minutes before you know that it's time for you to go to bed. Right. I know my parents are
Yes.
probably joining us tonight, and my mom and dad, because they're in their 80s, they're in
Yes.
the bed and prepping for bed by 7:35.
I know
Right.
that's right.
They're already prepping for bed. Right. They're letting
Prepping.
us know
Prepping. Yep.
prepping. They're shutting it down. They're shutting down certain things in the house. They're taking their last little medications, and they're taking their showers, and they're getting their rest clothes on, and they don't want to hear any nonsense. Even when we go visit after 8:30, there is no nonsense. The movement has to be a little more settled for them to
Yes.
get their rest. And I think we have to go back to infancy
Yes.
as adults when it comes to aligning ourselves with sleep and rest and peace. That when we're little, when our parents are taking care of us, they used to put on the little mobiles.
Yep.
Think about it.
Yep.
They
With
had
the
mobiles above the
music.
bed. Your babies would have the best sleep in their
Yes.
little cribs. And we
Yes.
have to we have to take on those things, not lose them. We have to take on those behaviors that were already embedded in us, but we lose it. I remember our middle daughter Ellis had a nightlight and soft music up until she was about 10. and
Wow.
and she didn't realize that that's a part of who she is. Like, she'll put on calming music, like that's her vibe. She's still doing it. Okay, nope, I can't hear you. We lost Sam. Nope, we lost each other. Your mute button is on. Hold on, everyone. I hope we'll get it right back. There
Okay.
we are.
Okay. I'm
I
so
just
sorry.
No, that's okay. Listen, I say again, that is not on my resume. You're not hurting my feelings at all.
I want to just say hi to Judy from high school. She's on as Jay Stones. That is my girl
Yes.
from way back, way back, way back,
Get,
way back.
get out of here. We
Yes, you
can
know
so
Judy?
connect. Judy is a member
Ah,
of the Messiah Church. That's my trusted trustee.
girl, your people are here. Your Messiah Church is in the house. Bless you, my
Blessing
beautiful
Messiah. I
sisters.
love you guys. I love you. I love you. I love you.
Yes.
I
So,
love
Reverend Margaret, you inspire me. You know, from the day we met, we kind of had this affinity for one another. Yeah, we just went like that, and we touch and agree on so many things.
absolutely.
Um, we both ran for office,
Yes. Yes.
and talk about that a little bit because I'm sure your church family knows, but I have some opinions as to why I ran and why I probably will not run again. How do you feel, before you ran and now that you ran? Like, what is your takeaways?
Well, I think for me is that everywhere I've lived, I've ran for office. So let's just
That's
start,
right. You did say
right?
that.
So when I ran in Tuckahoe, I didn't win the first time. I went back, I put on my big girl stuff,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I went out there and I ran again, right?
Yes.
But then it was a window because I was gonna fill somebody's seat, didn't get the seat, and then I had to run again in the next election. So
Right.
and won, and I ran as an independent. Um, and so to me, it was probably monumental in so many ways because I was the first Black woman to hold the seat in Tuckahoe, and still remains
History.
to this
History maker
history,
for women's
history,
history.
women's history, and it still remains to this day. And
Wow.
so I served Tuckahoe proudly because the Black community was underrepresented totally. And so it was my charge from God and from the local people in the community that they needed representation and never had it, right? Tuckahoe is very, very like a cocoon, right?
Hmm.
It's just Tuckahoe just feels like it vibes within itself. And
Hmm.
sometimes because you vibe that way, you might not see some of the things that are happening that don't really speak to what your issues are. And I
Right.
think that was the biggest issue for me in Tuckahoe, that they did not speak to the issues. Like, I grow weary of people thinking that a park provides all the things that they need. It doesn't.
No.
And so I try to get especially Black people to understand, stop allowing trinkets to be the answer to your issues, because they're not. And then when we left Tuckahoe, I went to Halifax County, Virginia. And this is a funny story. We moved to Halifax County, Virginia. I was like, okay, I'm not going to do politics. But soon as my feet got comfortable, that was my hometown. I started going to city council meetings and all those things. And then I ran, and I was running against an incumbent, an older white gentleman who had all the Southern ease that you can imagine. And he was so sure that he was going to beat me that he voted on that day and left and went to the beach. He
Wow.
told the mayor to call him when he won because he knew that he was going to win. And so, needless to say, I won.
Wow.
And if I had his number, I probably would have called him at the beach and, said whatever. But anyway, I ran, and I ran once again for the same purposes, because even though we had Black administration, and I don't need us to get, sometimes I think we get sidetracked with that as Black people, that we get
Yeah.
sidetracked. We're just glad to see a Black person in office. But I still think that some of the issues that we're facing, Halifax County and South Boston, Virginia, the people there was going unattended, especially the things in the school system. So that's always been my kind of niche, making sure that children are being advocated, whether it's on the political level, whether it's on school boards, and making sure that their voices are being heard. And so I was there doing what I do. And so it just made sense. When I came here, we were actually living in Mount Vernon. And so we
Okay.
moved back. And so I had started going to Mount Vernon's little
Wow.
city council meetings, checking out things, because I just knew Frank and I were going to live in Mount Vernon. Well, we didn't stay in Mount Vernon long. He wanted to move over to Yonkers so he could be closer to the church. And so we ended up in Yonkers. And then when I ran, and everybody kept saying, why don't you run for city council? That seems to be where you flowed. That's not what I heard. I prayed about it. I
Yeah.
really did. Because someone asked me, did you really pray about that? I did. I really
Yeah.
prayed about it. And I know I heard God. I know I heard God. And I
Mm-hmm.
still know that I've heard God, and I still hear God. Right. And
Yes.
so
Yes.
running for mayor for me was a call to action,
Yes.
because the action was, you've had the same person in office for 12 years.
Yeah.
Is your life any better?
Right. Good question.
That's the question. That was the question I needed to hear from the voters. Now, I didn't win. I came in third underneath the other incumbent of 12
Okay.
years. But it's still, the question remains, because now I have people now saying, I don't know why I didn't vote for you.
Right.
I didn't know enough about you. But see, and this is the thing, and I think it even happened with Kamala Harris. You didn't need to know much about me, but you knew everything about the person that was sitting in that seat.
Yeah, we got to talk about that, don't we?
You know enough about that person sitting in that seat to know better. And even though, I don't have a dislike of Spano, I just don't like his policies that
Mm-hmm.
he projects here in the city of Yonkers. And I've been very honest with him about that. I don't like your policies. I don't like the way that you operate. I don't like the moves that you make when it comes to housing and promotions. I don't like it. I see what you're doing, and everybody
Mm-hmm.
else does. But you can't say I don't know enough about her when you know everything about the incumbent. You
Yeah.
know everything. And if your life is better under their administration, so be it. Then you know
Yeah.
what you need to do. But make sure that when you're voting, that you're voting based on your issues, that they're
Right.
speaking to your issues and your life. And if your life is any better when somebody has been in office for more than 2 to 4 years, then so be it. But needless to say, we know what the conditions are here in the city of Yonkers specifically. And we
Right.
know that lives for many of us, Black and Brown community, our lives are not better.
Yeah. I want to pause there too, because there is a sense of comfort with incumbents,
Yes.
um, even if people are uncomfortable with some of the things that they do. They're more comfortable with an incumbent because they know them than someone who is presenting better policy, presenting a demographic that's underserved. That those don't seem to matter, especially in Westchester County. It's a
Right.
county, but it kind of runs more like a town,
Correct. Correct.
and everybody knows everybody, and there's also political power bases, right,
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
happen at the district leader level. And a lot of people, unless you're a district leader, don't really understand how party politics play, and their best interest is to usually keep things the same.
Right.
They're not generally interested in reform, change, anything like that, because people have seen through relationships they're able to benefit as individuals.
And that's part of the problem,
Yeah,
because the benefits are only for you. They
right,
don't benefit all. And
right.
the problem with politics, and I say this all the time if you ever hear me preach, Jesus was the biggest and bestest politician there was.
Yes, indeed.
He was. He provided meals. He
Yes, he
provided
did.
healing. He provided water.
Healthcare.
He
Yeah.
provided healthcare. He provided it all.
Yes.
And until politics understands their purpose, the purpose that it was ordained
Okay,
for
now.
the all. It was not supposed to be for a segment, and then you benefit financially off the backs of the ones that are disenfranchised. Make it make sense. And I think we, especially Westchester specifically, because it is a network, it is a closed system.
Yeah.
It's a very closed system. And if you
Right.
don't break, and if you're not someone that can break that kind of line of defense, you're right. You will always get pushed back. You will always get pushed aside. And your messaging and your political astuteness can be better than the person that's the incumbent.
Yes.
100%.
It doesn't
100%.
matter.
It doesn't matter. And it's sad
Yeah.
because people are influenced in such a way that they don't even realize they're group thinking. Because I learned that in seminary. I mean, in education, getting my master's in education in leadership. This whole idea of group think. I said that online to one of my preacher friends. I said, I'm not in the business of group think. I go out, I research, I look at stuff, I look at all sides. I try to make sure I have an informed decision, because when you begin to group think, then that's why you get the same people in office forever.
Absolutely.
You become
So
in that thinking.
now, being a woman, we are in Women's History Month.
Yes.
And there's two things I want to highlight. You said that it's for all, because Jesus already gave us the example. He was the master politician.
Yes.
So he served all, bar
Absolutely.
none. And the service part. So, as we're seeing what happens nationally, and we'll get to the federal level of government, and, DOGE is looking at waste, and at the same time laying off Americans that contribute. That is our money that they are playing with. That is our money. We pay. He probably doesn't even pay.
No.
He's probably not a citizen. He has not been naturalized.
No.
And he has figured out how to work the business system in a way where he does not probably even pay taxes. But he wants to talk to us about waste. And this is wrong. It's illegal. It's unconstitutional. It's everything wrong with it. But I do want to say.
Oh, we lost her.
Did you? Okay. I do want to say that we are the ones that they are supposed to be working for.
Correct.
They work for us.
Correct.
That is our money. Anybody in elected office, whether you are the school crossing guard, if they get elected, school board member, town, village, city council, at the executive level, county level, state level, federal level, you are a public servant.
That's right. That's right.
And I understand that a lot of people lose sight of that. Yeah. But I know when I ran, I wanted to serve. I wanted to.
And it's serving in a political realm that God created. He created that system for us, right? Government just didn't, just pop into this century or when we became adults. Right. It was founded on him. The Bible says that the government will be on his shoulders. That's what the Bible says. Right. And so that means that the government was already established. God had already established the systems to be in place. Right. And so I think even during Wednesday starts our Lenten for the Christian community. And for us to understand just what that means, that they do. I wrote a letter that Outbed the other week. Yonkers Ledger published it, and I wrote a letter to the city because of the treatment that residents here in the city of Yonkers continue to be to receive from the zoning board here in the city of Yonkers, right? Mm-hmm. And I made a statement in there that when is it that our local city council, when are they going to learn that they work for their district and not for developers? When is that light bulb going to go off in your head that a developer, even though development is not something I'm against, I am for smart development. If it
as am I. We need more housing.
If it makes sense, if it's affordable, that my aide in my room can get an apartment, which is not affordable here in Westchester County, because that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah.
Then it's affordable. That's the kind of development I want to see happen.
That's right.
Yonkers, and Westchester County. Stop using the word affordable when you know that it's not affordable for everyone. It is
That's
not.
right. That's
It's
right.
not. So
That's
stop
right.
saying that. The lady who did my nails this week on Saturday, she said, I have to live in the deep in the Bronx and travel up here and I'm using my money going back and forth. My tips, anything I use it going back and forth because I can't afford to live where I work.
Yep.
100%. So I wrote
Oh,
this
yeah.
op-ed and I said to them, I said, you as the city council are supposed to listen to your constituents. If I've been in a meeting 3 or 4 times and you have not held a town hall for your constituents to hear their voices about a project in your neighborhood, then you don't need to be their representative. I'm confused.
Right.
How are you their representative? But yet and still, my mayor can go to another community of a different hue and hold a whole town council, a whole town hall with them about a building. I have a problem with that. And we should too.
Yeah, we
should be
should.
outraged.
Absolutely.
Outraged that you will not come on one side of town to have a conversation.
Right.
We should be outraged.
But people are not. People are not outraged. And going back to the federal, right? I do have to talk about what is going on at our federal level.
Absolutely.
As a proud 92%er.
And we are.
We must talk about this. And this is within the social health, right? This is within politics, civics engagement. There are a lot of initiatives that we know work for the 92% of us, that we know work for disenfranchised people, disabled people, people in the LGBTQIA plus community,
yes,
all the people, right? Because we go back to that all. We go back to that all. We know that we fought for all.
We did.
That is what we're taught as Christians. That is how we are raised. That comes naturally to the 92%. So when we go out there, we represent ourselves. Of course, we center ourselves, but we know when we are doing well, it really goes across the board. That everyone does well. And what we're seeing in this administration is a retrenchment, a retraction of everybody to a very slim minority of people that are extremely wealthy.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
And male.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
That is what this country was founded on. I'm reading all kinds of books. You know how you and I like to read books.
Yes.
So when I go back into when I go back to the colonies, and when this country was started, it was started by white male landowners.
Absolutely.
And they built that constitution so they didn't have to answer to a king.
That's right. And that's all it was.
And that was it. Right.
And you know, because I get tickled when people say, oh no, they were leaving the persecution of the Catholic Church. If that was the case, we would not have that one Catholic Church here in the United States.
Right.
I can leave it right there. We would not have one. They were leaving listen, it was wealthy people mad at wealthy people.
Right.
And trying to escape so they can say, okay, you know what? I'm tired of you telling me what to do. So I'm going to leave. Yeah, I'll leave the king, but I'm going to start being a king over in another land.
Yes. Now we will have checks and balances.
Right.
But it will only be for ourselves.
That's it. It's not for anybody else.
Right. Everybody else is here. They are non-people. They are non-people.
That's it.
And you know, in my research, of course, women, non-people. Non-people. Yep. You know, the only way white women were able to achieve anything in civics was through inheritance from their daddies.
Correct.
Or through their husband.
Right.
So still they had to be in a certain proximity to a white male
in order for it to happen.
Right. To experience any kind of freedom, any kind of rights, and they still had very limited. As for the enslaved people, of which I am a descendant,
amen,
We were 3/5 of a human being. We were property. So we were not a part of this Constitution that was drafted.
Right. And still not. Don't start me, Tasha.
So now we have, and if you notice on some of the, so I went all the way back to the colonies. I went all the way back to enslavement because the Heritage Foundation,
Mm-hmm.
the architects of Project 2025, they still believe in the lost cause, which is when they lost in the Civil War.
Yes.
They want to reclaim that cause. And I need Black people to understand this. I need my people to understand this.
And how best would you like us to do that? Because I'm trying to get people to understand. I mean, if you didn't understand it when my president lost, my president, right? If you didn't understand that they were trying to, she was telling us, I mean, it's not even a trickle down. Like, you know, Reagan said trickle down effect. This is not even a trickle down. It is mass. I'm pushing the door open, and this is what this is.
Yes.
You cannot even begin to think that anybody in the federal government that is a hierarchical kind of position is on your side.
Not
That
a one.
entire administration, and I feel sorry for the housing person. No, I don't feel sorry for him because he's going to get used and pushed to the side, just like his predecessor was 2 years when he was in the
Black?
last. Yes, he is. Of course, he always Black. Housing is always Black. You can
Housing
guarantee
is always Black.
Housing is always Black. It's always Black. They never put a white person in charge of housing. It's always Black people. But do you understand? I can imagine. I would love to go to his Thanksgiving dinner. I mean, I would love to sit with him during a resurrection service and ask him, what is your problem? Do you understand what they're trying to get you to do to your baby cousin or to your cousin or to, you know, but it's like a mentality. It's a mindset.
Yep.
It's, you know, I hear Damon sometimes like, you know, slave mentality. Because I hear him because I try to catch Black Westchester on Sundays. But I think it's deeper than that, right?
I think so. I think it's way in the subconscious.
It's way in the subconscious because we can't seem to break traditions and things that we have been taught generationally, right? We can't seem to break away from certain things and habits and conversations. I remember because I grew up in the South. So that's why I said, you know, I tell Frank all the time when I first moved up, I said, oh, Jesus, I said, y'all got racism thick up here. And he'd be like, that's not racism. Dear, I'm from the South. I can smell it. If it walks like a duck, it is a duck. Okay. So, and I remember like we would go to this store. It was called Mr. John Crowder's store. Mm-hmm. Even from the title, you already know it's a white man, right? Yeah. So my grandfather would line us up behind him. Now he loved my granddaddy. He loved my granddaddy. He would call him Mr. D. So anytime they put a Mr. in front of a Black man's name, you know they have respect for them. Okay. Down south. So he would say Mr. D, and he would be like, oh, you got all the youngins with you, don't you? So Grandpa would have us all lined up. But you know what Grandpa would say before we walk in that store?
What's that?
I want you not to touch nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Keep your eyes on me.
Mm.
And don't look at anybody else. So
he knew that you guys were in dangerous territory.
Right. So, but it's the mindset.
Oh, Damon is here.
Hi, Damon. But you know, you grow up with this mindset when it comes to white men and authority. AJ. Right? They're both
here. It's AJ. Wait. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me get AJ in here. Hold on.
Okay.
I didn't want to interrupt. I was in the back room.
Okay. Hey, AJ.
We gave you a shout out last night.
You did?
Yeah, someone was talking about, we had Conrad Tillett on, and he was talking about the pastor who had the church before you and the work he did civil rights wise and all that other stuff.
Wow.
We announced that you were going to be on the show, and I said, actually, I was telling him you and your husband are the new pastors at that church. So
wow. Please tell me to stop by. But this is the thing, because like I was saying, you become it, like you said, a subconscious, subliminal kind of movement that you have, that every time you see a white person, you kind of don't look at them. You don't. But I remember, oh my God, the most freeing thing. So this is since I'm a child, and I'm just going back. Oh my God, when Roots came out, I was in 7th grade.
Yeah.
when Roots came out.
Yeah.
To see my Blackness on a screen and to see slavery come real, right? You've heard about it. You may have read about it, but to actually see it on screen, on a TV, and guess what? Color TV had just come out, right?
Yeah.
So my daddy had gotten us a color TV, so I'm excited because I'm really seeing all of it. I went to school the next day in social studies, and my teacher said, "Have y'all been watching Roots?" Then he was a white male.
Oh,
and I said, "Listen, bold and black as I could be. Yeah, because you ain't nothing but a two-bob."
Was that a character? I don't remember.
No, that's what they called the white people, two-bobs. That was supposed to be derogatory. But he had been watching Roots too. Do you not know they sent me to the principal's office? And back then there was paddling, right? You could paddle students. You had corporal punishment in school. And so I said, my daddy said, ain't nobody gonna hit me but him. So my dad had to come to the school, and my dad stood up for me. And he was like, well, she called him what she heard.
True.
But it was that, I'm telling you, this was a pivotal moment for me as a Black child.
Yeah.
That I knew from the movie Roots that I could stare down any white person. That I had the right to stand in my Blackness. That I had the right to be bold in my Blackness. It was that movie, guys. It was that was empowering for me. It was like life-changing. Growing up in the South, you know, you just went along to get along when you were little. So we didn't know any better, right?
Right.
But that movie in 7th grade led me on this journey when it does come to about activism, right? It led me on this journey.
Wow.
My dad, it led me on this journey. My dad organized the first union in Halifax County, Virginia. They had never, because, you know, Virginia is a non-union state.
Oh, yeah. Most of the Southern ones are.
Yes. My dad he organized the first union in that county in the state of Virginia. And I'm telling you, when I saw white men with hoods coming around, circling our houses, I mean, just pictures that are just ingrained in me. I knew then if my daddy could stand up to white people, oh, so can I. And then it's led me on this journey that I don't see power. And my husband gets scared of me sometimes because he's like, Lord have mercy. I gotta get locked and loaded with you because you just not really trying to see this. I'm over here praying, but you over here slaying. I need you to understand. I need you to tone it down just a little bit. But it is giving me a spirit of boldness, really, to understand that our people need voices like ours, because there are people who we say slave mentality, but it's not slave mentality. It's something that is ingrained. It's within us that we feel like we're not worthy of. We didn't build this nation. If it was not for us, there wouldn't be a White House, right? There wouldn't be roads and bridges. There wouldn't be no ironing boards for you to iron. There's certain things that I think we don't realize and recognize just what our contribution has been in this world, in this country, right?
Yeah.
You could have left me my people where they were. We were doing fine.
Yeah.
But I think we don't recognize just what we have brought to the table. And I don't say it anymore. I don't want to sit at the table. I want to own the structure. All right.
I know that's right.
I don't want to see. I forgot her name, but I didn't come up with that. She did, and I need to pin who said it.
Shirley Chisholm.
Yeah, I don't want that. I want the structure.
Yeah.
Because
I love that.
It's mine.
Yes.
It's mine. I'm gonna stop
that self-concept. AJ, welcome. AJ, you know, we spoke we spoke about everything. We spoke about physical health. I told her how you lost 50 pounds. I'm down 20. You look good. I see it in your face.
Thank you. Working
I'm gonna need some of that, AJ. I'm gonna need some of that. Some of that.
So my friend has me on a partial plant-based diet.
Okay.
That has a lot to do. Plus, you know, doing what I do is sitting at a computer for 8 and 10, 12 hours a day. So I wasn't being as physical as I needed to do. So a lot more walking and being more physical purposefully. That has helped a lot. Now I need to increase that,
Yeah.
Increase it more. You see, drinking some water and
I got my water. It's
yeah.
sparkling, but I'm drinking it.
I got it.
Trying to make I still didn't get rid of all the Pepsi yet, but trying to make the transition to at least seltzer though, like I had a can of seltzer today when I went out and I was like, okay, it's still not the same, but it got the bubbles in it a little bit.
It got the bubbles.
I'm trying to make the transition, and she's introduced me to a lot of plant-based stuff, and some of it I don't like, some of it I've incorporated, and the things that I do like, I've incorporated more of those things. So where I moved to. So where I was more in the hood, so to speak, down the street from the projects, where you often hear the pistols go pop, And now I'm on the other side of town near Memorial Field, and it seems like I'm in a whole different city. Yeah. It's more peaceful, and I realized for my mental health, even that has helped, and my surroundings, and then that helped with the eating because. Binge eating and stress eating and all that other stuff.
I'm an emotional eater. I'm
right. Too. And having more access to more stuff where instead of the corner bodegas, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So a lot of that, and I'm around the corner from Memorial Field, so I can walk around the track and, walk around the neighborhood. So those are the things that I've been incorporating. I have a lot more to do. I just got me some stress bands that Damon told me about. So I'm starting to do a little YouTube video with stress bands, the resistant bands. I'm sorry.
Y'all better watch him. Y'all better watch him. I'm just saying.
I see it.
Yeah.
Like I
might be when it get warm in the summer, I might have a little tone in my arm. I won't be buff, but I might have a little tone and definition.
I hear you.
Better watch out. Yeah. But
that's funny that you go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's important we don't discuss enough of our health, of the food deserts we live in, enough of the situation. Like I said, even the situation of where I lived was more stressful, and I didn't realize that on my life. And I'm a little less stressed, and that shows a little bit when you see in my face too. I'm a little less stressed. I'm my friend Dr. Cedric. He says something that I've incorporated this. So this year I've become a self-care advocate. I am advocating for my self-care. So, that's my thing. And,
I love it.
And you being as a pastor, my goal this year is to get my mind, body, and spirit in alignment. Like to fully get it.
Is he right on time, Margaret?
I've been close, and I've been a little bit, and maybe two of them, but I don't know when the last time all three have been in total alignment.
Well, make sure you get my book, Mind, Body, and Spirit, A Moment with God. It's a 30-day devotion. I have 2 books.
Okay. So yeah, I did not know that. I would have interviewed you as an author too. I didn't know that.
Mind, Body, and Spirit, for the book. A Moment with God.
Okay.
So where you need to be.
So yeah, I'm taking my spirituality more seriously, and my mental health a little bit more seriously, and saying no. Like turning my phone, the ringer off sometimes. I know some people that call, and I know that they are always drama when they call. Yeah. And I've got to a point, I learned this when I was married. I'm divorced now. I learned this when I was married. I cannot get upset with you for a decision I made. So if I know that you on the drama and I decided to pick up that phone, I can't get mad at you for bringing me the drama. I just don't answer the phone.
Okay.
So those are the type of changes. Like it's not just one thing. It's
right. It has to be. We talked about.
Yeah, it's a lot of things. So
that is wonderful. But I want to go back to something you said because it goes with the political piece of it too, and the food deserts that are in our communities,
right? And
how our communities. I bet you, if you go down to each area, even Yonkers, Mount Vernon, White Plains, New Rochelle, any of the big areas where the concentration of Blacks and Latinos, you're gonna have the bodegas, the liquor stores, places that fast food,
Chinese places. Yeah.
Absolutely, you're gonna have all those things that, if consumed all the time, unhealthy, physically not fit, stressed out, all of those things. And I think that's something we were talking of, blending politics into the spirit all of those things, that people don't recognize that all of those things are interrelated. You can't disconnect one from the other. They're all aligned together. When we lived on
Absolutely.
the other side of Yonkers, Frank and I would be so stressed leaving Bible study. Not because Bible study was bad. We were so stressed because we didn't know if we were going to have parking when we got to the house, right?
Yes, I
Where we
know.
were going to park, right? We're blessed that the place we are now, that we have our own driveway, we have our own house, we're doing what we need to do, whatever. But we were so stressed. We were stressed for 3.5 years, worried about
Over
should I
parking.
over parking? Should I take my car or should you leave yours in the spot? Because he's the husband. He's like, you know what? I'll go around the corner and park so you can have that spot, so you can be closer to the. You shouldn't have to live like that. You should not have to live like that. That you're so stressed because they have overdeveloped areas. Because we were talking about that too.
Yes.
That you're stressed because you're not going to find a park. You can't even go to the grocery store. You're scared. When I get back with all these 50 bags, that I'm not going to be able to get up the stairs because
That's right.
I'm not going to have anywhere to park. So all of those things, I think we kind of we forget, right? I grew up in the South, so I'm used to fresh garden food. That's what I'm used to.
Right.
I'm used to my grandma going outside and getting the chicken, bringing the chicken neck, us plucking the chicken, and I'm frying real fried chicken.
Yes.
Because this stuff that we eat now is not real fried chicken. Right? I'm used to going out milking the cow. I know what that feels like, right?
Yes.
Seeing the pig when it's time to do all that. I know what that stuff means and how healthy we were.
Yeah.
When we were growing up. And then I look now, it is like I'm looking at children in my classroom that are obese.
Oh yeah.
And these are first graders.
Oh yeah.
And it's the diet. It's the diet. So again with the economy. So what I've learned from covering stories, especially living in Mount Vernon. So you have families. They got to go to work. They get their kids ready to go to work. They come home. They do whatever their kids' activities are, whatever. Then they got to get ready for the next day. And they don't really have time for a lot of things. So a lot of times that is grabbing McDonald's on the way home or, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that, because you have to do so much just to live, living just enough for the city, as Stevie Wonder said. You're living just enough for the city.
There's something that I heard. Oh, go ahead, AJ.
And I wanted to say one more thing about politics and spirituality. So what we need to look at, we don't look at, there's lessons. God has shown me there's lessons in everything. So what's going on with Trump and what's going on with that so-called Catholic or Christian or whatever they call themselves and how they're interacting with the politics, we need to get in line with the Father, the creator of all, and we need to bring our spirituality to all of that. You know what I'm saying? Like we've allowed them to get us to take our spirituality out of all of that. You know what I'm saying? Taking, just everything, just taking
the
that
love,
out,
taking the love out.
Right. And that's what our spirituality, Jesus is love. So that's what our spirituality is. So when we take that from our existence, and we are very spiritual people, first and foremost, that's what got us through slavery and the civil rights era and all of that. Absolutely. Our spirituality, that's what helped Black Westchester get to 10 years. My spirituality, it wasn't, we don't make no real money. You know what I'm saying? Like it was my faith that, like my book says, and how my faith was instrumental in this great experiment. So we need to get more in line with God, allow him to lead us. And that's the only way. It doesn't matter what they do. You know what I'm saying? We're not following kings. We're not following presidents. We're following God. We're following Jesus. And we need to get more in line with our king. And everybody's not Christian. So whatever your spiritual, Muslim, whatever your spirit, we need to bring the spirituality back and move forward. We need to get involved in all of that. And look at what they're doing, because they're using their spiritual.
They're using Christian nationalism
to justify everything they're doing and saying.
Absolutely.
At the same time, telling you can't have prayer and you can't have prayer in school and all these things. You know what I'm saying? But so we look at things and we go crazy and we jump off the roof. But we need to learn the lesson from Jamal Bowman. how ACAP, we can get pissed with what APAC did, or we can learn how they put
From
their
them.
money to get people out that did not have their interests. I mean, that's basically what it was.
Oh,
You know what I'm
absolutely.
saying? And support someone who was in their interest. If Black people were supporting people that were in our interest, with supporting them with our wallets and our words, not just our words,
That
and
wallet.
we were right, and we were voting our people in that had our interest, we get a lot of the things that we feel that we don't get and get ignored. You know what I'm saying? But we have to work together, and spirituality is one of the ways we can work together. I mean, and we need to incorporate that. So I don't want to I probably took this conversation in 10 other directions.
No.
You're fine. I
right
got
on
I got a couple
time.
things I want to let Tasha to her show. So I'm gonna
Right. That's why I said this now. People for apologies. Let me shut up.
Well, but what I like about what you said is Black people working together. I like the spiritual piece that you're talking about. And, you know, before you came on, AJ, we were saying, you know, we're trying to tell people how to get involved, what these policies are all about, why you should get involved. And people are either distracted or programmed, because we talked about the scrolling and social media, which is a program. People are on drugs because the scrolling produces hormones and feelings. So that is an outside substance that's not within your body. It's an outside substance like a drug that produces these different responses. So we know that people are programmed, but the spiritual piece, going back to
that's what they call radio programmers. Like
that's why radio
that
program
title,
exactly.
That title is not just a title. That they're
right.
actually programming your thought.
That's right. Group
If
think.
you can control what our kids see, hear, and all of that, you can control their thought patterns. You can help shape their whatever it is, the message that you're trying to get. We need to learn how to utilize that instead of complaining about it. What are we doing? I mean, and it always comes down to everything else. What are you doing? I got into this whole thing last night about people not going to school board meetings and city council meetings and all that stuff, but they complain. You complain about your school board. You complain about how your school is run. And I just found out Yonkers, we're not alone. Yonkers is thinking about maybe closing some schools now.
Oh,
I just got the memo. So, you know, that's what we're dealing with in Mount Vernon with 3 schools. But instead of complaining, what are you doing to help that? Are you showing up at these school board meetings? It's your school board trustees that appoint the superintendent. So if you don't like how your school is running, you need to get some new school board trustees and let them know what it is that you're looking for. But we have to be involved, and we're not involved as a people. We're not proactive. We're reactive. We react to what everyone is doing.
Correct.
And that is why we're in half of the situations. And I said this, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to shut up. And this gets me in trouble a lot with some Black people. I could care less. Black lives cannot matter until Black lives matter to Black people. Like, how can you expect them to matter to anyone else if we're showing how we try to politically decapitate each other, Black Democrats against Black Democrats? Ain't no Republicans over here in Mount Vernon, like, running things. Like, you know, we're taking each other out. And what do you think? And then we're demanding respect from other people, and we don't respect each other. So I'm shutting up.
So with that as our launch pad, let's just say it's a launch pad, right? Yeah. Because we are moving forward, and we are really sincerely seeking out other people who agree with us. Because when we touch and agree that we're going to stay engaged, you know, and I got to shout out Black Westchester and you, AJ, for standing alongside Congressman Jamal Bowman. We really took a beating.
Yes.
And I need every Black person on this show to understand.
A physical beating and a financial beating.
Yes.
You know how much advertising I lost that I have not got back?
Yeah.
The county was my number 1 advertiser, and I was criticizing the county exec. You know how much advertising that has cost me? You know,
talk about that, because, you know, we're all business owners also. Right. Margaret is a 2-time author.
That's right.
AJ is a
who
editor.
was in my book about Black women, celebrating Black women in Westchester. She's in my book as the first Black trustee from
Tuckahoe.
Yeah.
History maker, right? Black Westchester is history, but it's also
That's
a
right.
business.
Mm-hmm.
I have my businesses as a consultant, as a policy person. So if we start from where we are, and we, even just the three of us on this show, and Damon, of course, the four of us, and we keep circulating our dollars with one another, and we keep promoting one another, that is the example for other Black people in our sphere of influence to follow.
Absolutely.
We simply must do it. There is no Calvary coming for us.
No.
I'm gonna get on my Booker T. Washington,
Ooh,
who differed from W.E.B. Du Bois. So there is the civics, right? W.E.B. Du Bois is like, we're gonna make white people respect us. We're gonna make them do this and make them do that. Booker T. Washington was like, let's just do what we do and do it well. Then we don't got to worry about them.
Wait, can I stop you real
both.
quick? You know what's important? You just said it. We talk about Malcolm and Martin, but we needed both. We talk about the two people you just talked about, but we needed both. It was both of them, the exchange of ideas, the debates, and all of that, the confrontations even, that elevated us to where we needed to be. You need both. And we can't have everybody on one side and everybody on another side. And that even comes to politics. We need to diversify your stocks, diversify everything else. Maybe we shouldn't put all our money in the Democratic Party. Maybe we should be trying to take over the Republican Party too. You know what I'm saying? Like we have to diversify. So
and I think too, let's take it into the church as well. I ran into a lot of conversations online during this whole economic blackout, right? Conversations about whether people were going to do it. They had pastors on there. I went to a pastor's summit on Martin Luther King's weekend. I could share it now, but I couldn't share it before I left. Down in Atlanta, Georgia, they had over 100 influential pastors in that room, right? I don't know how I got invited, but I was invited. So I was in that room with the big pastors, the ones with the mega churches. Jamal was there. I went to seminary with Jamal. So a lot of people were in there, right? Otis Moss couldn't get there. He couldn't get there, but he teleported himself in. But but we were there as a collective to talk about where do we go from here. I get back, I reach out to two other pastors here, right, to talk to them about bringing us together. Westchester, Harlem, Bronx, Northern Westchester, to bring us together, to come have a conversation, talk to two. Crickets. So you go through this thing, and I don't want to say that Black people, we're not monolithic, right? We're not just everybody thinks the same way. We don't do that. However, in this period of time, we have to be on one accord, and that's Bible. We have to be. We have no other choice. I don't care if it's Donald Duck who is leading me in this movement. I'm going to follow Donald. I shouldn't probably use Donald Duck. Well, Goofy. I don't care if it's Goofy.
We are the leaders.
We are the leaders. And that's what one of my friends, her name is Dr. Leslie Copeland Toon. She's Lisa Copeland's sister. I
went to school with both of them. Yeah.
We are best friends. So Leslie said to me, because I was growing weary, because I was like, what's wrong with these jokers, especially male pastors? What is wrong with them? Is it because I'm a woman, they don't want to respond? Is it because I'm a woman, they don't think I got the fire or the grit to do what we need to do? Am I not speaking right? And she said, let me tell you something. You just speak. That's it.
It's groupthink.
It's a group thing. Because they're not understanding that your platform that God has blessed you with, you're supposed to be elevating your people, your group of people that God has given you charge over. You're supposed to be elevated. Yes, faith is great. Prayer is great. But there's also a component of walking in faith. There is also a component
of works is dead. Faith without works.
You cannot faith this. You can't faith this journey that we're on now, because faith got us this far, right? We got faith. Faith is ingrained. That's who we are as Black people. We are, listen, my DNA spews out faith. But God is also requiring me, He is mandating me to take action. And when
that's faith too, though.
That's faith. Because I know
faith to take that step that you
take
can't
the
see.
step.
That's
You
faith.
can't sit.
Faith
You
to
can't
act.
sit there.
That's faith.
Exactly. I
That's
said
faith
to the
and works.
congregation
Yeah.
on Sunday, I said, Bryant was saying, sharing in our group, he was saying, listen, he said, ever since I opened my mouth about certain things, about Donald Trump running, he said the IRS has visited our church at least 3 times.
What?
At least. And he was being probably generous because of us. Because they are going to send the people. They don't care. They're sending the people. But you can't be afraid. You can't be scared. That's the problem. Don't allow fear to thwart you into doing what God has called you to do. God gave you as under shepherd over these congregations to lead these people to understand. He did not give you people to lead for you to sit there and say, oh, it'll be all right in the by and by. Well, I don't know what the by and by looks like. I don't know what that looks like, because I want to leave my next generation with something that they can hold on to. And if I'm leaving them just knowing that, we went through a period of time and nobody was active, then we're not leaving them a legacy. What are we leaving them? And so I think when it comes to the church, and particularly the Black church, even though they might be thousands of voices, but we still need to be resonating the same message. We have.
And how do we do that? I'm asking both of y'all because we got 20 minutes left. I
So
want to ask.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but go ahead, AJ.
So again, faith without works is dead. We have to. I lost it when you said that. I was trying to comment on what you just said.
Well, we were talking about fear. Like, how do we face our fears?
That's it. So my pastor told me. So my pastor in Georgia, Short Temple AME Zion Church in Smyrna, Georgia. He was like, God is building an army, and God ain't looking for no punks. Like,
God ain't looking for no punks, baby.
He looking for a strong. And if you look at everything that the stories in the Bible, those disciples and the work they had to do after Jesus left, they got killed for it. They put everything on the line for it.
That's right, to put everything on the line.
And it's just like we have to do that. What are you willing to stand for? What are you willing to die for? If you're not willing to die for anything, I mean, the people we celebrate the civil rights movement. Some of those people died for us. Like you always hear people die so we can vote. No, they died for all of those things. They died. We grew up. We're probably around the same age because I was like 7th or 8th grade when Roots came out. So I just turned 59. I'm like, yo,
I'm older than you.
We grew up. We grew up in a time where we didn't have to deal with that.
That's right. That's right.
So the problem is
we were passive.
Right. So our parents fought so we wouldn't have to deal with this.
Right.
But the problem is we enjoyed the successes of it.
Right. We're
not continuing to fight so the next generation won't have to deal with that. And the last thing I want to say is, again, in church they tell you when you're going through certain things, you don't know how you're going to get through it. This ain't the first time you've been through this, and the last time you was there, God got you through it.
That's
this
right.
Ain't the first time Black people been through that. We survived Reaganomics. We survived everything else. So these are not the first times we've been through these situations where we've been under attack, where all our rights have been under attack, where we didn't have rights, and when we did get them, they found ways to take them away. This is not new to us as a people. We've been here before. And our spirituality helped us get through and helped us with the courage to fight. That's it.
I like that. It's the courage to fight.
And that's what, when you talk about your faith, faith. I had an aunt, and I'll make this very short. She lived, we lived in Central Ice, Long Island. The light bill came, this, that, and other. They were like, yo, you need some help? She was like, no, God got me. Something else was happening. She was like, yo, you need some help? They was like, no, God got me. You know what? 6 months later, they were living at our house because they lost the house. Their kids, her son was living in my and sleep on the floor of my room, and you know what I'm saying? Like, so faith without works, you can't just pray it away and you don't do anything. You can't just believe. You have to take that and put it into action. And then let me tell you, I don't know every month how Black Westchester is going to come out. I don't know how Black Westchester got here for 10 years. I don't know how half of this stuff. There's a lot of times, I'm going to be honest, I don't know how my rent going to get paid the next month. But you know what? I've been here. I'm keeping it real. I've been here.
Yeah.
When these situations come, I don't really stress no more because I know God got me, because the work that I'm doing, while other people might not realize it, this is my ministry.
Mm-hmm.
Fighting for those who can't fight for themselves.
You're
Speaking
right.
up for those who can't speak. That's what God requires for us to do. So my ministry and your ministry are two different things. Like, God has something for me to do, and God, you know, they say your vision is for you. Like, he ain't give everybody, he didn't let everybody see what your vision was for you. You know what I'm saying? So it's
That's
like,
right.
and if he gave you the vision, he's going to give you the provision to carry out the vision.
Yes. Yes.
But they say without God, we can't, but without us, God won't. In other words, he won't do it for us.
We are his hands.
We are.
Right.
We're the instrument.
He won't just do it for us. We have to be those instruments.
That's
We
right.
have to be so, and whatever it takes, you know. And I'm sorry to overmap. I get
Brother
passionate.
AJ, I don't know why you
passionate.
didn't. Let me go on and give you a license. You know I'm ordained. I can go on and give you a little license.
Yeah, everybody
Hey,
keeps saying that. Everybody
I
keeps trying
just
to
want
do
to
that.
say before
God ain't walked me into that circle yet. When God says that, then I'll do that. Yeah, not nobody else.
before we go too far, Reverend Margaret, would you come back on? Because we had a whole running show. I don't even know if we talked about anything that we had planned to talk about.
No, but I think we covered everything. We were going
Okay.
to talk about Bryant. We were going to talk about Black history, women's history. We covered it. We just covered it in our own way.
When you said Brian, you talking about Jamal Bryant in Atlanta?
Yes.
So he did something that I want to see other people do, what other churches do. He has some company that he believed in. I think they sold clothes or whatever. And he presented them at the beginning of the church. And he told everybody in his church they're going to be setting up in the parking lot to go support them. And then they show videos of them weeks and months later carrying mad packages every day to the UPS store. This was all the power of Jamal Bryant telling his Black congregation to support this Black company, and they're thriving. And I use that as an example. That is Black empowerment.
Just did
that's
the
what all we're
same
talking
thing
about. That
last
is
Sunday.
Black empowerment. So, that's what we have to use our platforms, whatever they are.
That's right.
Empower our others, and that's how we grow. So
I just did that 2 Sundays ago, because we have one Black business in our church, and she does hair, and she does everybody, men, women, everybody. And I said, how many of you? She sits with us every Sunday. I know you have your special lady that does your thing, your special man, but you can take one visit a month from your person that you utilize and go see her. That's how we're going to build her capital. That's how we're going to build her brand, right? We have to pour back in. And I try to find my best. Listen, I am an eater. I'm an emotional eater, and I love to eat. That's the problem. That's why I'm going to get to some of this plant-based stuff. But I want to be able to support my own. And even, let me tell you, I went to a restaurant, Black-owned restaurant. The food was not that good, right? I didn't embarrass them. I left my tip. I did everything I was supposed to do. I pulled the manager, the owner, to the side, and I said, listen, I'll be back. Absolutely 100%. But let me tell you about this, and this. He appreciated that. I didn't go on and blast him out and go on Yelp and talk about him. I didn't even share who the restaurant was. Nobody's business. Because we can't expect quality unless we tell people what our definition is of quality. I can't tell you what makes Margaret happy because it may not make Tasha happy. So, I can't expect the same thing from Tasha that Tasha expects from me. So when I go into a place of business, like Frank always laughs at me, because when I go into a restaurant, if I see a crumb underneath a table, I'm not sitting there. Frank then sat down, then put his napkin on,
stand that.
and I said, I'm not sitting there. He said, babe, are you serious right now? We got to move. You're absolutely going to move because I'm not sitting there. I will bring them to clean it up because there are certain things that I'm going to accept as a customer that somebody else may be all right with. If it's a crumb on the table or on the seat, I'm not sitting there. I need you to clean it up. And that's my OCD too. But, but I'm just saying.
It's a standard.
It's a standard. And so we don't embarrass because, I hear that about, the Black businesses, they don't do this. But have you ever had a conversation? Have you ever set a business person down to say, you know what, I may not like that. I don't like that. You might want to try something different. I know I'm not your only customer, but your other customers may appreciate that. That's how we build the brand for them. We help them build their brand. And I think we don't do enough to do that. We don't do enough to empower them to build their brand because I want somebody to do that for me, right? I'm trying to build my brand, my ministry brand, because that's the name of my ministry, Bring Yourself Ministry. So I'm trying to build that brand. So coming on shows like this, doing speaking, talking to people, it builds the brand of what I'm trying to do for the body and it's particular for women. Building their brand. So yeah, AJ, I hear you 100%. And I think we as a Black church need to be now on the back where God planted us in the first place, to be the mouthpieces, to be that temple, to be that influence in community, because we've lost that because we have become so comfortable. If I can get my roof fixed, if I can get a grant to do a child care center, then we shut our mouths. Like, no.
I want to thank both of you. Us three have touched and agreed on this. I am forever indebted to both AJ and Damon for letting me have a show on their platform.
Is beautiful.
They have been like mentoring me, whether they wanted to or not. First, it was People Before Politics, then letting me do articles, and now this show. And we are the change that we have sought. We're doing it.
Yes.
And I do want to hear from each of y'all on how do you deal with fear?
Ooh. Mm.
I'll tell you, I've been doing things afraid for the past maybe 10 years.
100%.
I've just been doing it afraid. And to your earlier point, AJ, it is a reliance on God's Holy Spirit because you don't know what's out there. You don't know how to do certain things. You don't know what people are going to say about you when you decide to do certain things. And I just do it anyway, because at the same time, when God gives you a purpose, you have to deal with yourself, your human ego, your fear, your anxiety, even your depression, even, right? So I have just been doing it afraid. And on this particular path that I'm on, this particular healing journey, God always puts people on the road as encouragers.
Amen. Amen.
The ram in the bush. He will always give you the ram in the bush.
That's right. And iron definitely sharpens. And I think for me, fear has always been my motivator. Like,
okay,
if it's always been one of those things. Like, even like when I said when I ran for mayor, because people really were trying to convince me to run for city council, and I was like, no, I did that already. I know what that job entails. I know what that job requires. I'm not doing that. I know what the God has said to me, and I'm still running for mayor. I'm running for mayor right now. I'm doing it right this very minute. It is still an assignment that is in my hand. Now, it may not be yours, but it is still an assignment that is on my life. And that will happen. It will happen either there or Congress. It's one or the two. It's been prophesied as Congress, and we'll see what happens. Okay. But I'm just saying, fear is a motivator for me. It never stops me. It actually motivates me, because the only thing I need to hear the enemy say is that you can't do it. And I'm like, oh, I can't? Okay.
Watch me.
I'm getting back to that. I allow certain things to get me away from that for a while, just life. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And I'm getting back to that. And we've been doing Black Westchester. And before I answer the question, I want to tell Tasha, and I want to tell everybody, when Damon approached me about the idea of doing Black Westchester, when we decided to do People Before Politics 10-something years ago, when we was doing this, it was never intended to be me and Damon's voice only, and us speaking for speaking for being the voice of the voiceless. We wanted to give the voiceless their own voice, and I wanted people to not look at this as me and Damon's paper or show or platform, but I wanted the community to look at that's our platform, and I intended
Wow.
for them to contribute. And we have a platform. If you want to write an article or a letter and you want to address something in your community, you just send it in to blackwestchester@gmail.com. You know what I'm saying? We've had a plethora of hosts. We used to have Lorraine on, and we used to deal with a lot of the Latino issues and stuff.
Yes.
We just, I couldn't have done this, and me and Damon couldn't have done this 10 years without Tasha, without Lorraine, without
Cynthia.
Dr. Brown, without Cynthia, who was the original co-host,
Wow.
and several, without Rashad, who went on to do Earn the
Right.
Leisure, without all the people
Priscilla.
who have contributed, Priscilla. And it's just like, you see me and Damon's face in the forefront, but you don't see all the people behind that have contributed so much to make this, that believe in this. And lastly, I want to say, if you support with your wallet as well.
Absolutely.
So send Tasha her Cash App or whatever to keep her going. The church, send Reverend Margaret's church, send their church, go to church, make an offering or something. Send something, send a donation to Black Westchester.
That's right.
When I say everybody has a part to play, everybody's not meant to be on the front line.
Right.
But there are some people who have wallets that they can help support the people who are on the front line.
Amen.
And that sometimes is as important as you being on the front line yourself. Because we're standing out there with no support. We're standing out there when all the rocks come back. I find myself, I'm not the only one standing here getting hit with all the rocks. Where everybody go? Where everybody at? I came here to stand with you. Why not stand for you?
That's
what I'm saying? So nobody can do nothing. To answer your question, no one can do anything to me that God doesn't allow. And if God allows it, he will be there like he was with Daniel in the lion's den and the 3 Hebrew boys in the furnace. He will be there with me, and he'll get me through, because he's not going to put nothing on me that I can't handle. So as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing no man can do for me. And this might be presumptuous that people are like, oh, you could get killed. You know what? At this point, I think if I did, it might ignite a revolution, and I might be a martyr or something. So I'm not even worried about that part as far as this whole thing is concerned. I'm being more selective in what I do. You can't shout from every window and throw a rock at every building. Sometimes you have to pick and choose. And some things, I'm trying to stay in line with my things, criminal justice and all these other things. And that's why, instead of being critical of the NAACP, I joined the NAACP, and now I'm the vice president and I'm over criminal justice.
You sure did. I remember. I saw that arc.
So it was like, but I was the biggest critic of the NAACP.
I remember.
I remember.
But when y'all called me, I was always there with y'all.
You were. Absolutely,
100%. Even when y'all were going after Spano, my other biggest advertiser, I was there with you, and it could have been. It could have killed my pocket as well. And I say that to say we have to stop being scared of what we might lose if we step up, because what I find out is, yes, I lost some people in the Jamal thing, and I lost some, but you know what? I got some people from the Westchester Progressives and other people that never supported before that were just heavily supporting. When God closes the door, he opens what they say, he opens another door in a window.
He absolutely does.
So sometimes those doors need to close for you to grow. You know what I'm saying? And also, you may lose allies and friends and family members, because everyone can't go where God is taking you. Some people are negative influences on you, and God got to remove them, and you can't see it. But they're in position to where God is taking you. So, this is my pulpit, the show.
That's right.
This is my and I speak to a secular audience, not just the people. With churches. And I don't disrespect, but sometimes churches, because they don't go outside the doors.
That's right.
I read a book that compared the black church to a junkyard dog. A junkyard dog will stay inside the junkyard.
Right there. That's right.
Crime, prostitution, drug dealing, everything going on outside the gate. He will leave it alone. But you come inside that gate, and that dog gonna get you. Right. Sometimes the churches only help you when you go in, and we have to go outside the walls. And I believe all the things God's doing, my spiritual minded program, all of these things is like Paul, who didn't walk with the disciples and didn't walk with Jesus, is the one who had to go take the word to the Gentiles. You know what I'm saying? So I have a secular congregation.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like I speak to a secular, I speak to a secular audience, and sometimes I blend in a little spirituality in my stories, and I might blend in a little scripture or something in a show interview or something like that. Like sometimes it's all about planting seeds. It's not my responsibility to make them grow. God just wanted me to plant the seeds. All seeds won't grow. He'll send someone behind me to water it.
That's right. Well, that's word. That's word right there. That's the word right there.
So that's
what plants, the other water,
right,
and God gives the increase.
And that's what keeps me going. And you know what? I needed this, and I say this in closing. God, I have an uncle. His name is Eugene Woodson. He's a biblical scholar. He used to preach at Shiloh Baptist in New Rochelle. And one day he told my father, his brother, he felt like he was preaching to himself. I'm a kid. I'm like, Shiloh's a big church. Whenever he preaching, everybody's there. How's he preaching to himself? I find that when I'm going through things like I am right now, that God is whispering in my ear, are you listening to the words coming out of your mouth? Like, so I don't know if this is to help somebody else, but God is using this conversation to help me right now. Amen. God is speaking to me through me, but speaking to me through me. So, I hope someone is blessed by this. It's a little different than what we do on People for Politics. So I love this, that I'm able to get out my spiritual, a little bit more, because it's important. And
it is.
My faith is what got me through all of this. I came out here to take care of my mother in 2014. I lost all my earthly belongings. I had no job. In that pain, God built this platform.
Wow.
And in my pain, he was healing and helping a lot of people.
My God.
You know what I'm saying? So, when I go through something, how can I be like, why my mother? Like I read about all these people that survived in cancer and all that. And I used to be like, why my mother? But you know what? My mother passing, I felt was her passing me a torch. My mother was very active. My mother went to Pennsylvania and all of them for the Obama elections to register people. My mother was she worked the polling sites and all that. My mother was very active, and she helped people save their houses who were in foreclosure. So while that's not what I do, this is God using me to still help the community, my mother's city where she grew up and where she graduated, the high school she graduated from, to continue this work, but in the way that I do it. And we can't look at what someone else is doing and the way they're doing it. We got to look at how God is using us. And lastly, I'm sorry, we got to stop getting upset and jealous when God blesses someone else. I was always told when God is blessing my neighbor, he's in my neighborhood. Ooh. So you gotta praise God. You gotta praise God.
I love that. Can I steal that?
Absolutely. So
I'm gonna use that. I gotta steal it too.
If you can't be happy for God blessing your brother or your sister or your neighbor, you know what I'm saying, and rejoice for them. How you know what I'm saying? How can he bless you? How can you can't appreciate it? So I don't know. I hope these nuggets help somebody. Tasha, I'm very thankful for being obedient to come on and have the vision for the show and be used. And thank you for letting me come on. This is what Black Westchester is all about.
I don't think I mastered.
It's about that. And this is what the vision was, to do a lot of different things and hear from a lot of different people. And if you want to see it keep going, hit the subscribe button, subscribe, like, leave comments, and
share.
And if you don't have money for an ad, make a donation.
Make a donation. Black Westchester is a business.
Make a donation.
Make a donation to Messiah.
Messiah. Make a donation to this.
Oh. And Reverend Margaret.
Yes, my dear.
Yes, in closing, your closing remarks, my dear, anything you want to say? And you got to come back. But
I'm definitely coming back. If I could just be a person in the audience, I'm definitely coming back. But this has been really, really rewarding. You started off my month the way it needed to be started off as far as Women's History Month. It gives me more pep in my step for my advocacy work that God has now charged me to do. Thank you for putting that in there. Charged me with during this season. I also want to tell you that I've been asked to be on the panel for the Westchester Women's Summit,
Yeah.
which is a major thing because I was shocked. So it just aligns itself on knowing that I am right where God wants me to be in this season. And so this only just motivates me and, catapults me into knowing that I can't be growing weary right now, because this is not time for that. And I want to say those persons who joined us tonight, especially my Messiah people, my Messiah members, my loves, my heart, my family, thank you so much for joining. Please follow Tasha Elevation Nation. It's on YouTube, so you don't have to go scrambling on Facebook. Join Black Westchester. I try to catch it every Sunday at 7. If I don't get the 30 minutes of it, I'm on there trying to hear what's being said. I try not to make comments because then they shout you out. I don't want you to shout me out. I just want to hear.
Well, you can always text. I got the private people, they text me, so I don't put it up on the screen. They text me.
Okay, that's what I'm gonna have to do. Because I tell you, he said, "Oh yeah, Reverend Margaret's on here," and she said that. Oh Lord, but yeah, this is what we need. We need to have more of these conversations. And just talking about interconnecting the spirit and the physical and the emotional and the mental. This needs to happen, especially doing this type of work. Because I told you, it's stressful. You got to learn that centering, understanding that peace needs to abide. Like Frank and I have one of the bedrooms in the house. There is no television in it, right? It's called the white room, and it is white. And I have everything in there, our books and everything, and it's a desk. Everything is in, and it's just peace. There's nothing in there. It's a bed in there, yes, but it's nothing else in there that will be electronic for us to go in there to just sit. Right now I'm in his study, and his computers all around me. But in the white room, it is just peace. Books on the shelves, just for you to have peace. And so anybody that stays the night, if they have to be the ones that go in the white room, they always come downstairs and say, "That is the best sleep I've had in a long time."
Wow, look at that.
Because that's our prayer room. That's where we pray. That's where, we're in there, we're talking to God. We're just having conversations. But I think people need to set aside that time. And I told the church on Sunday, when we start our fasting time on Wednesday during the time of Lent, take 40 days to ask God, what spiritual discipline do I need to increase in my life? And then begin to work on that. Don't lose it after day 40, but make it a part of your life and your existence. Make it a part of your journey, because I think we lose sight that we need to have a discipline that is going to speak to ourselves, right? We're building self. I love that you and AJ on this wellness that deals with your physical health, right?
Yeah.
I go back to the doctor, he tell me one more time that my BMI is 31 and that, you got to lose at least 30 pounds. And then I'm saying, well, where I'm going to lose it? I mean, I'm trying to figure out where it is.
You're not that big.
I mean, I'm not that big. So I'm trying to figure out how and what am I going to look like losing 30 pounds? I mean, I'll give you 15. I may even give you 20, but 30, dude, no. Anybody going to tell me I look sick? No, sir. I said, I am a big black bone girl. It's like, no, you're not doing it.
From the South.
From the South. So please, thank you so much. Please, yes, invite me back again. I would love to come back and share. And it has been a wealth. And I too was supposed to be on a Zoom at 7:30. So, hey.
And Reverend Margaret, and to all the women who are watching this, please feel free to invite me to your events with my book celebrating Black women of Westchester for Women's Month.
Absolutely.
That's another way of supporting, so I can bring the books and sell some books and stuff. So let me speak on that and at your events or something. So please keep me in mind.
Definitely, we will. You hear that Women's Minister President? She's on there, and the vice chair, they are there. They are.
So I just want to express my gratitude for you all. I am full. My heart is full. My spirit is awakened and in tune. And I know that I have community with the two of you. And I just want to leave everybody with the fact that we are entering a time where we need each other. We have to build community with one another. We simply must spend money with one another. And that is how we will survive and thrive under a regime with
Yes,
each other.
that's it.
It is with each other. And in upcoming shows, we are going to talk about emergency preparedness. We are going to talk about if the grid goes down, which is a threat, how will you find your loved ones? Where is the meetup spot? We need to be moving more. If we need to do what our ancestors did, are we able to move? Are we able to walk?
Right.
Are we able to run?
Oh my God, Tasha.
Can we fight? You know what I mean? And I'm not saying this facetiously. I am saying we need to get
Yeah.
ourselves in physical shape for what if our government systems are not there for us. Let me tell you something. And then I'm sorry, I gotta say this. You know when they say the Europeans killed off the indigenous people with smallpox? What do you think happens if anything happens to our health insurance and our medications?
Right. Right. You're not
And
gonna be able to survive.
the cancellation of all vaccines.
Right.
Come
But
on.
and that's what I'm saying. And insulin, like my mother is insulin
You see?
dependent. Like what
You see?
happens? What happens? Like you said, if they decide that insulin is not. But see, that's targeted. That's
It's
targeted.
targeted.
It
Can I
is
say something?
Targeted.
It's
To you,
targeted.
Reverend Margaret, read up on fruits and vegetables are good for everything that we are going through. And whatever your mother is dealing with, look up whatever fruits and vegetables are good. What plant-based situations do you need to incorporate more into her diet, and look those things up. And that may help because my friend who has me on a plant-based diet, she's got her husband and her father and her mother. She's got them. They had a plethora of illnesses and pills and all that. And she changed their diet and she's got them off medication and all their numbers are good.
Do it now.
And so
Amen. I just
that's
texted
my
it
word.
to my dad. I just
So
texted that.
that's my word for everybody. You know, the fruit, what you said, so you're from the South, so growing things that's alive. We need to eat the food that's alive. Like that's what our bodies were made for, to take this food that's alive. And if you just look up, Damon has a good book breaking down what all the vegetables and fruits are for. Like
he said, God is in your vegetables, right, AJ?
Right. All the fruits and vegetables do certain things. God made this body.
That's
and
right.
He made all these fruits and vegetables. They all do different things for your eyesight, for your digestion, for your all the things. There are fruits and vegetables. Now it's not curing everything. You understand what I'm saying?
Correct.
And there's some people that's going to need medication because their things are so far. They need the medication, but they might be able to come down off some of the medications. Right. But that's my advice: to start looking into plant-based, more fruits and vegetables. I was really on this when COVID came. I didn't catch COVID, but my immune system, it's partially the reason, because I increased all my fruits and vegetables. My immune system was so up. We have immune systems and we have things inside our bodies to kill other things and stuff.
That's right.
We need to get more into the holistic. In Africa, we were more holistic.
Yes.
We were more holistic people, spiritual, holistic, and all. So they killed all these things and got us on their medication.
Chemicals.
And their chemicals. We have the Food and Drug Administration. The Food Administration approves these foods that are not good for us. And then the drug part of the Drug Administration assigns us all these drugs for us to take and become lifetime customers.
And then insurance says how much it's going to be, so you can't afford it.
Right. So there's just things you can do on your own. Your health, be better self-care advocates, eating better, taking care of yourself more. I'm starting to really respect the power of sleep. You know what I'm saying? Like
we talked about that. About that.
But all of these things you got to do for you. Like those are doors only you can walk through. Those are journeys you have to take by yourself sometimes. You know what I mean? And I want to live. I got to a point now I want to live.
Amen.
And no matter how much time I have left, I learned with taking care of my mom the words quality of life. I want to live with the best quality of life I have for however many days I have, whether I'm here till 60, 70, 120. I want to have a good quality of life. I don't want to be here on all kinds of wheelchairs and walkers and all kind 22 medicines. And you know, I don't want to live like that. So, talk to nutritionists, plant-based nutritionists.
Yeah.
There are now plant-based doctors now who are talking. Google this stuff. It's all available for you online. Look this stuff up. So anyway, that's sorry. I didn't mean to
No, it's okay. And to Judy's point, so I keep talking because this is a great conversation, but I was pre-diabetic. I came down 20 pounds, AJ. I don't know if you know that, but I was pre-diabetic, and I go to Chinatown because of my insurance. That's where I get the best care because so many Chinese people have the same insurance that I have. So when they saw the numbers, they said, "Do you want to talk about your weight?" And I said, yeah, I want to talk about it. I was 223. I don't mind saying it. I was 223 pounds. And the nutritionist said, "They brought you here to me because of weight." I said, yes. He said, sugar. He went through the sugar. Then he said, but there's also dairy, which is sugar.
Right.
It breaks down into sugar.
Breaks down to sugar.
Right. Then he said, but there's also carbohydrates, which we know. And then he said, but there's also the yams, the plantain, all these kind of things. So I stopped sugar from January 1st until January 15th, came down 11 pounds.
Wow.
Then the second thing that I did was water fasting. And we'll talk about that on another show. That brought me down another 9 pounds. Now I'm doing a liver cleanse. So the point that I'm trying to get to is rheumatoid arthritis I had. All kinds of mental, emotional things going on. I couldn't breathe. And my heart was hurting.
Mm-hmm.
So what am I saying? I'm saying start now.
That's
Talk
right.
to your doctor now about lifestyle changes. They don't even prescribe lifestyle changes anymore. They only want to give you medicine. Talk to your doctor about what you can and cannot do. And more important than that, as important as your doctor, listen to your body. Your body is still your body.
It's telling you. It tells you. It does not lie. Okay? You think that scale lying. Your body does not lie.
If you hurting all the time, your body's trying to tell you something.
Your knees are hurting. Your knees are the gateway to your health. Really, your knees will hurt. I don't care if you 25 pounds. If something is going on, it's something about your thighs to your knees. It's something about that circulation that will be impacted. I had that same thing. I was like, oh my God. I went up the stairs the other day. I was like, oh, no. We're not doing that. Oh, no. You done set 2 days, 3 days too long. Let's go. We're not doing none of that. I'm not doing none of that. I'm not having none of that.
We're too cute.
I'm too cute.
We're too cute.
I told my daughter, I said, let me tell you something. Something happened to your mother. My hair better be tight. My makeup better be on. Don't have no gray speckles in my hair. She says, Mom,
we're too cute for that.
I'm not doing that. I love telling everybody I'm 61 now because they looking at me like, what?
Yeah, because you don't look it.
You don't look 61 and plan not to.
Oh, so you only got me by a year or so. You made it sound like you was like 10 years older than me or something.
I know.
You said you was in seventh. You said you was in 7th grade, and I was around that too. So I know you was around my age. So I was like, I was around that age too.
But you looking like my younger brother and my father and my other brother who all walking around with these gray beards. I'm not doing none of that. You're not.
Well, you know what? I used to cut it all off. When I had the dreads, I used to dye it, and someone told me, so men, this is a secret. It was not a big secret. So men, we do everything we do because of women.
True.
We get the nice cars because we want the women. We do all the things we do for women. So women started telling me how distinguished I looked, and you earned your gray. You should rock it. And I tried it once or twice and got lots of compliments. I was like, okay, because I never, you know me, I keep all this, everything was straight, clean.
Clean face.
No, none
But
of
see,
that.
the ball and the gray gold. See, that's a fit.
It does.
That's
That's
a
a look.
whole fit you got going on now, AJ. That's a whole fit. We ain't gonna do nothing. Listen, I'm gonna have to lock him down. Like I see that. I see that right now. So I'm gonna be your big sister, and we gonna lock you down. See that?
And you got white teeth to go with it.
Yes, that's right. And your teeth are straight. And see that?
And
Yeah,
they're
we're gonna
straight.
lock him down.
I gotta take care of him better. I'm trying to take care of him
Guys, we're
better.
gonna lock him down. I'm big sister Margaret. I'm gonna have to lock him down.
Well,
Silver
I love
Fox.
you
See,
guys.
that's what
Silver
someone
Fox.
said. Silver Fox.
Somebody
And I
just
wanted
said that.
And I wanted to thank somebody gave me a compliment.
Marva Bryant.
Yeah, I was trying to find it.
Marva, yeah.
Yes. She said, be willing to accept change when it comes. God definitely got you, Mr. AJ. Thank you very much. I just wanted to acknowledge that comment.
Yes. That's one of our warriors at the church. Now that's a prophet right there, for sure.
Well, I love you guys. We
love you too.
Continuing on our health conversations. I want to just say again, Ramadan Mubarak to all who are fasting. I want to say enjoy your Lent. Maybe somebody might want to give up scrolling for Lent. I don't know. Maybe we'll do something digital, but pray to God and let him lead you. And we'll be here next Monday. We will be continuing to talk about Women's History Month. And I can't wait to talk to you again, Reverend Margaret.
I look forward to it. I most certainly look forward to it.
Whether it's Lent or Ramadan, let's spend time with God and in the Word and in prayer. That is very important. Like the whole giving up something and everything. It's to get you closer to God and more dependent on God. We missed that part.
We missed that part.
So
that's right.
And we can't get through it without God. So you want God to do certain things in your life. He's waiting for you to reach out to him. So
yes.
So I'm so that's my word. That's it. I'm out.
Don't be sorry. We love everything. You dropped so much energy into this. We had the energy, but you brought in your energy, and it just 3. It's a magic number.
Amen. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Got it. The Trinity.
Love you guys.
Love you too. Thank you. Thank you, Messiah. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you, Messiah.
Be blessed.
Be blessed.
Be blessed.
Are you ready to transform your life from the inside out? Join Tasha Young on Elevation Nation, your guide to total wellness and personal evolution. You are about to discover powerful strategies for healing across 7 essential dimensions: physical vitality, emotional balance, mental clarity, financial freedom, social connection, sexual wellness, and intellectual growth. This is more than self-help. It's self-elevation. Watch Elevation Nation with Tasha Young, exclusively on Black Westchester Magazine, the news from the Black point of view. Your journey to wholeness starts now.